Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on October 5th, 2021 at approximately 8:52 a.m. PST. Things have been interesting. My life usually gets a little twisted, a little out of hand, but hey, what the heck? First and foremost, let me say thank you for joining me. Okay, the journey I've been on for the longest time has been rather remarkable. Now, I just discovered something this morning. I'm going to be looking into the specifics of it, but it turns out, like I checked my weight and what have you again, because I've been keeping tabs on it, and for me, that is a critical issue. If I desire, well, never mind if I had three goals in life. Okay, three goals only. One, frankly, was to get off this backwoods mud ball. The mistake I made there was I forgot to say, don't keep bringing me back, don't bring me back. So I managed to attain that one. Okay. The second one was to find peace of mind. Now, oddly enough, that I am very close to achieving. I have discovered a couple of very important factors, and the neat part about it is these tools, these philosophies that I'm sharing with you are ones I personally use, I personally live by. Now, I've built myself as a spiritual guide. And in my opinion, if you're going to be a spiritual guide, if you're going to tell people this is the path to go on, then it is very, very important that as a spiritual guide, you follow what you're telling people. Now, it doesn't matter to me what walk of life you come from, how you got to where you are. Okay, I am very happy to admit, to acknowledge, to find out. If I go back about 6 months, okay, roughly speaking, I was literally 246 pounds. Now, my weight has been fluctuating a little in the last little while, but only by about 5 pounds either side of 210. So I'm down 40 pounds ish. Okay, but I found a couple of things out during that time. By changing my diet, by changing my mindset, by really getting focused on that side of it, I can bring my health back into goal, into a decent level. Which, by the way, leads me to that almost unattainable goal in many people's eyes. Okay, and again, I'm not that special in this regard, except for I found a key. Okay, now people talk about these. Here's a neat little way of solving your problem here, and it's great. There are companies that will tell you, here's a concoction that we put together that's better than modern medicine. And the fact that they are herbal in nature is absolutely a benefit over, compared to, chemicals that mankind has put together. But when you take if you're going to take medication, take natural medication, as in what is provided in the plants on this planet. But here's the kicker to it. I watch these things from to start right from start to finish, and I've made the mistake of buying some of them. Okay, so I've been down that road, but it's the key factor that none of them talk about, that I've seen anyway, is the mindset. If you turn around and you look at, like, I watched these videos, and the third goal that I had was, and you're going to love this one because I won't know for a number of decades if I pull this one off. But the third goal I had was to see the 22nd century in a functional body. Now, the neat part here is I'm 58 right now. In order to see the 22nd century, I have to make it to close to 130 years. Will I manage to pull that off? Lord knows. What I do know is, if you pay any attention at all to the record books, to what's claimed in many of the ancient histories, if you pay any attention to them at all, people used to live, 200 years without even blinking. Now, why would you desire to live that long? Well, frankly, I don't desire to live that long if I'm in poor health. But if I've got good health, good energy, good mood, If I've got all of that, then why not? Okay, I always held, because my leg was so bad, I always held that if my health deteriorated and I ended up in a wheelchair, I can live with that. Okay, I've been living with a bad leg most of my life. But I always held if I end up a quadriplegic, no offense to quadriplegics. Okay, no offense to the people that have done phenomenal work in helping these people. Okay, but the thing I found was this. Okay, it's the mindset. So I watch these videos and they tell me, here's what this stuff is, here's the information. And oh, by the way, here is a new pill that you can buy that takes all of these things and makes it happen immediately or almost immediately. Quick is not a good method, in my opinion. You ever hear the story about the tortoise and the hare? Okay, slow and steady wins the race. And it takes a long time to reprogram your brain. Now, I just watched a video just now, so I'm going to take the information I found there and using some of the spices and what have you that I already have in my possession. I'm going to put a mixture together for me. Now, I am not a nutritionist. God knows I haven't paid attention to nutrition much. Okay, but I do know when the research sounds right. Now, I made the mistake a while back. I listened to somebody, I looked at the research was absolutely right. It should have worked. So I ordered this particular herbal medication, and I bought it. Within 2 weeks of having this stuff that was supposed to help my heart, what I ended up with was, oops, shock of shocks, good medication, solid research, took the medication, had a heart attack. Bonus. Just what I needed. Another one. Okay. So, I came to the conclusion that you watch these videos and they'll tell you the information. Watch what's happening. Now, I don't have a lot of practical experience in research, primarily because I get bored. Okay, and I've got to give credit to the people that do the research to find this information out. Am I going to give you a medication, an herbal concoction, and say, here you go? This has been proven. Not a snowball's prayer. I won't do it. Okay. I will put one together for me, and if it works for me, that's great. But every corporeal body is different. The reality is this, the mindset. Okay, turns out there are particulates, and we all know this instinctively. There are particulates in the air brought about by modern pollution that are affecting people's health. Even when the FDA, or when the different, I was going to say the FDA, which is fine, any of the governing bodies that watch for air quality and what have you and say this is safe, even the safest methods, they are dealing with particulates. They measure particulates that are far bigger than the ones you have to worry about. Okay, but with that in mind, if your mindset is that your body can cleanse itself of the toxins, and there's one individual that I know of in particular that I've been talking to that I know listens to these, and I will tell that, and this is specifically to that person. I know of somebody that is suffering of, and there's a lot of you out there that suffer from heavy metal poisoning. Now, here's the thing. Okay, what I've discovered is, yes, it happens to everybody. Diabetes happens because of toxins in the air. There is not a medication on the planet that will stop the toxins in the air, but your mindset will. If you can, when you let yourself accept that you can expel all of those toxins yourself. Yes, using the herbal medication, using proper diet, using proper spices and what have you. Okay, those help immensely. Okay, it's kind of like if you desire to lose weight. Okay, if you consume less calories than you burn, you will drop weight. But it is critical that you eat properly. Okay, now where it comes to heavy metal toxin, your body has the capacity, if your mindset will let you, like when you reset the mindset that says, I can heal all the money in the world from any lawsuit that you're trying to pull off, okay, that you're going, even if it's a legitimate lawsuit, it doesn't matter. All the money will not solve the problem. The mindset will. Okay, and this is where I'm starting to look at. Okay, you see, if you are of a religious bend and you believe that God created you in His image, then, as one person I was talking to put it, that's inside and outside. You have the capacity right here to heal your body. Now, these glasses are going to become absolutely useless to me in the near future. At least that's the goal. Of course, in all fairness, I have arrived at the point with my glasses that I'm functionally okay with them. I've got other things I've got to correct. Not the least of which is my right leg, which is it's hooped. Okay, it's been a mess since I was 12. But the mindset that you can actually expel the real heavy duty toxins from your body yourself, okay, is the key to actually eliminating excess weight, the excess toxicities, especially when you're dealing with things that there's not a medication that seems to work. Your heavy metals, they can be expelled by your own body, but you've got to accept the fact that you can do that. Okay, don't listen to the people that say it can't be done. I've got a video earlier on that I posted. Okay, that was the subheading was language. Can't. Listen to that and listen, and I think I've got one out that also says impossible. Listen to that one as well. Because I did find that both of those thought processes are absolutely debilitating. Now, from your standpoint, we've talked about changing the energy around you. Well, right now I'm talking about changing the energy within you. Most of the most Reiki masters will talk about 7 chakras. Okay, all in a straight line. The really good ones talk about 9. I personally work with 28 chakras. Okay, 28 energy meridians. Now, I'm not trained in any of it. Okay, I never learned any of the hiccups, any of the rules. Okay, but I will tell you, right now, my blood pressure is down to normal. My sugar levels are coming into balance. Actually, I think my sugar levels probably are in balance. Where I'm having a little bit of a hiccup is salt levels, which is really kind of weird, but I'm looking into that. However, my weight is down, my energy levels are up, my eyesight is getting stronger. I'm not about to complain about it. Now I've got a few things that I've got to deal with, and that's okay. Okay. But I'm telling you, every tool that I talk about, that I offer, is one that I personally live by. It's one of the philosophies I live by are ones I personally implement on a day-to-day basis. Okay. This is not done from reading up on the medical journals and finding out what psychological method worked, what spiritual method worked. These are ones that I've learned the hard way. Now, I'm 58 years old right now, and I feel better than I did when I was 50. Okay, and that is very much the case. Had to lean down. I just said my eyes are working, and they are, but not as well as I'd like yet. Okay, the thing you have to realize is, okay, I live by a very simple philosophy. When your heart can conceive it and your mind, no, when your mind can conceive it and your heart can believe it, then you can achieve it. The reality of it is this: when you get it straight in your own head that, yes, doctors are critical, and I absolutely will flat out tell you, going on Google to find out what symptoms are what is not necessarily your best option. Way too many variables. Okay, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have good information. Okay, it's just you got to look for the right stuff. You got to look. Well, that sounds like an old show. Well, it was an old show. That was, but anyway, we digress. The internet does have a lot of information. Your doctors and your pharmacists have a lot of information. But the reality is, your body knows how to heal itself. Absolutely. Go to the doctor, go to your church, your temple, your coven, whoever. Talk to the support people around you. But listen to the ones that are helping you feel better about you. Not the ones that say, quite frankly, if you're going to somebody that says fear life, you're probably listening to the wrong person. Just my personal opinion. Okay, I remember asking somebody one day. I asked a pastor one day. I literally asked him, "When are you going to start doing God's work?" Now, what I was referring to is this particular line of thinking is we take care of the sick, we take care of the homeless. And he turned around, he looks at me and goes, "Well, we encourage people to come to church." I says, "Really?" I says, "You banned half the people from the church if they're not exactly of your denomination. They're not allowed there. If they're the wrong orientation, they're not allowed there. If they're not dressed right, they're not allowed there. How is this encouraging them?" Now, I'm not telling you who to go and follow or what group to sit down with. To me, it doesn't matter. Every religion, every spiritual guideline is teaching you the same thing. Okay. Even many of the martial arts trainings are teaching you the same thing. Okay. And that is that, frankly, if you look at things, right, if you're building your life on fear, you're throwing your body into disarray. And any illness you have, whether it is a physical one or or a mental or emotional one, they are all the same thing. They are literally a dis-ease. The more at peace you get with you, the better your energy levels will go. The higher your energy levels go, the more smoothly the energy around you runs, the better off you're going to feel. And net result, the better off you're going to be able to actually deal with things. Now, here's the thing. Think of the psychological thing. Why are your eyes collapsing? Is it because you're getting older? Is it because your nutrition is wrong? Or is it because of something fundamentally even better or even stronger, more powerful? Is your eyesight collapsing because you don't desire to see what you're looking at? And that is the functional key factor. Okay. And it has been, I've been told, I've never done the research, so I cannot speak to it myself, but I have been told that if you're, when an organ starts collapsing, there's something that your body is trying to tell you. Most of the time, it's on a spiritual level. Many times, if your back is hurting, it's because you're feeling like you've been stabbed in the back, or you're feeling like you're carrying too much weight. Much of that comes from worrying so much about things you've got no control over. Well, I'm telling you, the health of your body is something you've got absolute dominant control over. You have the ability to take your health, to drop the weight that you're carrying, to correct your eyesight so that it works properly, to correct your metabolism, your blood sugar. Okay. Myself, with a bad leg, it's amazing. I dropped 50 pounds. Well, actually, in this case, I'm down at 100. I was at 146. I'm down to 112 or 246. I'm down to 212. So I'm down to just about 45 pounds. I went up again. It fluctuates. That's why you don't check your weight every day. Okay. And in all fairness, and like I said, I am not a medical doctor. This is just the way I live my life. I was told I should check my blood pressure all the time. Well, I check it once every week or two. Okay, just to make sure that I'm staying on track. Same as I check my weight about every week or so. Okay, it just so happens this morning I checked my weight. Okay, and the reality is that if you're looking for accurate weight, you want to have as little clothing on as you can get away with when you're checking your weight. Because I found out that the clothes that I tend to wear, add right off the bat, if I'm not wearing boots, they add right off the bat 5 pounds to my weight. Just like that. Now, the thing with your health, okay, is you can control that from here, right here. And all you have to do, well, that sounds real simple. Technically, it's an all you have to do, okay, is you've got to accept the fact that you can control it. You cannot control how other people see you, but you can certainly control how you feel about you. And you can control the way you respond to the way other people feel about you. Okay. I pulled away from the world and kept this journal going, and quite frankly, the more I look at it, the more I understand exactly why I pulled away from people. Way too much negativity stuck out. Something I noticed, okay, I've been watching Facebook and what have you. Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. There's been, up until about a month ago, there was a staggering amount of who ripped who off, who stole what, who hurt who. Let's see how many people we can embarrass. I'm happy to report that since I started working on getting people to look at this, people are actually starting to pay more and more attention to the positive side. I'm seeing more and more things of, look, this is a recipe that I tried that I like. Okay, take a look at the creative side of what I've drawn. I just caught wind. I was looking through my contacts. Okay, the ones that show up on my Facebook. And a young lass that I know very well, I've known for literally decades, has finally got her artwork displayed up on display in a museum in her town. I could not be happier for her, I don't think. Okay, she's been chasing this dream of being a recognized artist for pretty much the majority of her life. Okay, and this is just a very direct, congratulations to her as well, because when I will never forget the day I met her. Okay, she was just a tiny little thing, and she came out and wrapped her arms around my knee, and I literally looked down, and I looked at this little munchkin, and I went, "What is that?" Now, I did not have, I never was that socially adept, right? But I looked at this little thing, and I don't think she could have been 2 or 3 years old. I honestly don't remember the age at this point. I remember her arms wrapping around my knee quite well. But this little creative individual has finally got their artwork displayed on an art display at a local. I don't know if it's a museum or if it's a college or what the story is, but it is up on. She's got her own display of it. Okay, these are things that happen when you get your head on straight. Understand, whatever your dream, your mind, especially where your health is concerned, your mind and your heart are the things that matter. They are the things that can change it all. Yes, medication. Like when I broke my arm, having a doctor put it back together was really necessary. Okay, no way I would have wanted to go through that trying to hold it steady long enough for the arm to heal. As it turned out, they did a bang-up job, the arm healed. What they never did get fixed. Of course, the guy told me, the same guy that did the work on my arm, told me he could fix my leg, but he'd have to buck it off the hip. And I decided that was a bad idea. So, I've gone about a different way. And now that I've got things sorted out, things are coming into balance quite nicely. And like I said, everything I do, you can do. There is not a thing on the planet that I do that you're not capable of. Well, that's not entirely true. If you're born female, you're not going to, even with all the medical training in the world, all the psychological programming, you're not going to know what it's like to feel or to think like a male. Won't happen. Okay, you are what you are. And it doesn't matter what gender you call it. Okay, but all of the philosophies that I live my life by and the 3 karmic laws that really hold dominant force over what I do with my life. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. energy out, energy in. Okay. Now, I'm going to be testing something. I've got a couple of people that I know that are quite literally diagnosed blind. Okay. Now, I've already had the joy of taking a young lass that was in a wheelchair. The doctors had given up and said, "You're in a wheelchair for life." And using my philosophies and my understanding of energy transference, I was able to remind her body. Now, her body is the one that did it. Okay, but I was able to remind her body how to function so she could get out of the wheelchair. As far as I'm aware, because I haven't seen her in a couple of years. Okay, as far as I'm aware, she's still out of said wheelchair. Okay, and I am absolutely certain that as I figured out how to change my eyes, okay, now I had an advantage in as much as I didn't have that impediment of going, the doctors are absolutely right about prognosis. They're fantastic about diagnosis many times. It's the treatment and the prognosis, the likely outcomes they seem to run into hiccups with. And I will not blame them for that. If all your training, and this is where the understanding of the human body is a problem, of the entire corporeal system is a problem. Okay, if you're working with, in medical terms, if you're working with the double helix, okay, you're missing a staggering amount of information. Okay, because where the real information is in the triple helix and in the subquantum interactions between the triple helix. Okay, this is just something I understand here. I am not trained in it, but I will tell you, get your head straightened around and go, look, anything I'm dealing with, I'm going to overcome because my body has the capacity to heal it. Will you require crutches for the time being? Absolutely. If you're on medication, stay on the stuff until your body sorts itself out. Unless the medication's killing you, at which point it might be a bad idea. But stay working with the professionals you've been dealing with to cope with what you're doing, but get your mindset turned around. And this is why I say the tools I'm talking about are the ones I personally use. And I came to the understanding by watching these medical videos, even though they're sales pitches, the information in them is absolutely imperative. But you have to realize the real key factor is the mindset that goes behind the medication and the herbs and what have you working on you. Okay. The reality is, if you believe that you can turn things around, then you'll be able to. Okay, and again, to the individual that I know of in particular that is fighting with a major case of heavy metal poisoning, he's never been told, because the doctors don't know, would be my suspicion, but he's never been told at all how to go about it. Okay, and the hope is that he will drop me a line when he gets it, when he sees this video, and I will go into for him specifically. And for that matter, if you're suffering from heavy metal poisoning, now understand, I am not a doctor, I am not a lawyer. Okay, I don't have any of that background. I am just simply John Doe down the road. But I return to pass on one message this lifetime. And that one message is that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Okay, now with that said, I'm going to leave this alone until tomorrow. Okay, so until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.